Welcome to New York City, where it all began.
لا إله إلا الله.
In a letter of Hazrat Muslim Maud radiallahu anhu to Mufti Muhammad Sadiq Saab, Hazur said, "The pioneers in the colonization of the American land are looked back upon with great honor and respect. Their work was temporal, but now, my dear brothers and sisters, Allah the Almighty has made you pioneers in the spiritual colonization of the Western world."
On January 24th, 1920, Dr. Mufti Muhammad Sadiq left England on the SS Haverford for the USA. He arrived in the Philadelphia port on February 25th, 1920, but was detained by the immigration authorities. The events that took place during Dr. Sadiq's confinement should have alerted America of the dynamic force that Islam was to become in American history. 19 persons were converted. The first convert was Mr. R.J. Rockford. Unfortunately, Mr. Rockford was sent back to England. He adopted the name Hamid. The other converts were from Jamaica, British Guiana, Poland, Russia, Germany, Azores, Belgium, Portugal, Italy, and France. These converts were from all races. After Mufti Sahib's release from his detention in April 1920, he set his headquarters at 1897 Madison Avenue in New York City. During the month of May, he made 12 new converts. 6 were Christians and 6 were Muslims.
Even as early as his voyage here to America, Hazrat Mufti Muhammad Sadiq Saab radiallahu anhu had converted countless souls to Islam. He then came here to Madison Avenue in the heart of Harlem, where his mission continued.
Among the countless techniques he used to invite souls to Islam, how many joined merely as a result of a flyer or newspaper ad? Anyone who scrolls through the early manuscripts of his work will find that his most effective method of preaching was the one-to-one connections he and the early pioneers made with their friends, neighbors, and people they met on the street. Those efforts began a spiritual revolution.
From 1921 to 1925, 1,025 persons became Ahmadi. It was during this period that many African Americans became Ahmadi. They were residents of Chicago, Gary, Indiana, and St. Louis, Missouri. In 1922, Mufti Sahib moved our headquarters to 4448 Wabash Avenue in Chicago.
For the next century, we see countless pioneers from across the country embrace the message and continue to grow the movement through their personal relationships.
Mufti Muhammad Sadiq Sahib Raziallahu was truly a great gift. When I read his story and learned about this man, I knew that my life is dedicated forever to carry the message of this most beautiful gift I received. I received a gift that no one can take from me.
I was in this institution, and I heard about this lady who used her lunch hour to say her prayers because she didn't have any other time. And then she told me, she gave me a bulletin and told me where the mosque was.
How many of us have brought someone into Islam in the last year? How many of us have went out to the community and actually propagated Islam? When I say propagate, I'm not saying go out with some big signs that we're Ahmadi and we got some books to sell you and some posters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the person who walks by who was having a problem looks at that and says, oh, what is that? I can't read it because it's in Arabic or it's in Urdu. I don't have any idea about the conversation that you're holding. I ask you simply one thing, I need help. Will you help me? What do you have to offer me?
So unless you have that personality which makes people love you and become interested in you, it is not possible for you. You can't even genuinely dream of being a successful Da'i ilallah.
So if you ever going to preach, and incidentally I'm looking at the crowd, my whole activity from my time or my journey was Tabligh. I love it, I do it all the time and been doing it since day one, Tabligh. You know what Tabligh is? Preaching. But if I look around here and what I see, I would think you don't know much about Tabligh, because look at your audience. I mean, this place should be so full to all the parking lot should be full of people. If you had the spirit, you got the truth. Ahmadiyya is truth. Ahmadiyya is the light. Ahmadiyya is guidance. But where are the preachers? We have no preachers. We have talkers. And who do they talk to? One another.
We accept the promised Messiah. We have a job to do. Let us not fail that job. Let us not get into the culture of this country and lose what the promised Messiah has brought to us.
But an Ahmadi, you have to live Ahmadiyyat. And it's the jihad bin nafs. It's that spirit within. And when God sees that spirit in you, and it's true, He guides you to the truth. This is Ahmadiyyat. So it takes time. You can't become an Ahmadi in a day, a month, or a week, or 2 years.
Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, by the grace of Allah, was dispatched to America by Khalifatul Masih II in line with spreading Islam to the furthest corners of the world. And it was under Khalifatul Masih II radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that the Tariqa Jadid was established, which carries the bulwark of the missionary work. And it was the missionaries that all of us must be thankful for that brought Islam not only to America, but to Africa, Indonesia, and other parts of the world, because many of them made many great sacrifices, and this was done under the direction of the second caliph. In closing, a beautiful story was reported to me about in the days of Khalifatul Masih II, that he made a very inspiring speech at a Jalsa Salana, requesting people to come forward and dedicate themselves to the religion, to preach Ahmadiyyat. And from that, two brothers or two young men left from the Jalsagar and walked all the way to Burma, and later wired back to headquarters and said, "Oh Hazur, we are here, now what must we do?"
More than 50 years later, here in New York City, another historic day dawned on the Ahmadiyya movement. When Hazrat Khalifatul Masih III inaugurated the first New York City mosque here in the borough of Brooklyn, it set in motion a new wave of people entering the Jamaat.
Ahmadiyyat Zindabad, Ahmadiyyat Zindabad, Ahmadiyyat Zindabad.
And how do you conduct your mission in Europe?
We try to win the hearts.
As you can see, these converts all had one thing in common. They chose Ahmadiyyat because their hearts were conquered by love.
If you truly love Allah, as you should, then you will begin to think in terms of pleasing God. And not only that, then you will think in terms of sharing your happiness with the rest of the mankind.
Throughout the ages, Khulafa have continued the guidance to focus on personal one-to-one connections, starting with those closest to us.
You should have your personal contact with your fellow students or friends. And tell them, who are you? When they come to know that you are an Ahmadi girl, that they should see the difference between an Ahmadi Muslim girl and other Muslims, or even any other girl of your age. So this will attract them, that they will try to know about you. So then you can open the door of preaching.
Again,
On October 24th, 2021, while meeting with National Amla of Ireland, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, said, "You should increase your personal relations with people and have one-to-one meetings and contacts to increase the tabligh work. Invite people and establish personal contacts. It is only when you establish personal contacts with people that you can effectively carry out tabligh. Otherwise, simply distributing leaflets is not enough, as you will not know who has read them and what they did with it. The leaflets are only one of many ways. You should explore every avenue to see how you can carry out tabligh in the most effective manner in your circumstances."
Ahmadiyat Zindabad, Ahmadiyat Zindabad.